Good morning. In this video, I'm going to begin a series of videos dealing with critiquing a work that put up by Dan Corner. This is a critique of Gail Riplinger's scholarship in King James Bible Onlyism, and this is a work dealing with Riplinger's work on blind guides. Now, Corner does is what he does is simply repeat many of the same lies that the anti-King James movement is constantly just repeats over and over and over again, that you find all on their websites, and show from the facts that these are in fact lies, and the very thing that Corner accuses Riplinger of doing, distorting the truth, he in fact is doing. And I'm going to deal with certain subjects that he brings up here. First subject I'm going to talk about is Erasmus. Now, Riplinger points out that Erasmus was in fact a devout Christian, and Corner tries to refute that by saying that Erasmus was a Roman Catholic, so therefore he couldn't be a devout Christian. And this is supposed to shock King James Bible believers that Erasmus was a Catholic. There's no reason why a Roman Catholic can't create a Protestant text, a Greek text, just as a couple of Protestants like Westcott and Hort could create a Roman Catholic text. The issue is not their religion. The issue is the texts, the manuscripts they're using as their basis. And so looking at Erasmus, the issue of Erasmus as a Catholic, in Corner quotes from this work here, History of the Christian Church by Shedd, and he quotes page 30 and saying that Erasmus never joined the Reformation, and this is supposed to be yet at the same time Erasmus disowned the Reformation, and so I mean that's supposed to shock us that he was never became a Protestant, officially a Protestant. In fact, remained loyal to the Roman Catholic Church. So that's, say, oh, well, that means the text he created must be a Roman Catholic text, which is false. But Shedd states here, still, Erasmus was never ready to strike hands with the zealots of the Roman Catholic party. He felt that no kinship with them. While professionally adhering to the old church and submitting to its authority, he held in fact a kind of mean position and thus exposed himself to the criticism of all parties. He describes himself as waging a threefold contest with those Roman pagans who are wretchedly jealous of me, with certain theologians and monks who leave no stone unturned that they may destroy me, with some rabid Lutherans who rave against me because I alone, as they say, delay their triumph. So it's very clear that while Erasmus was not a Roman Catholic, a Protestant, he certainly was a very nominal Catholic as well. Schaff points that out, that he says that Erasmus was a lover of Christianity, and he goes on to point out here another thing also that Corner attacks Riplinger on is saying that Erasmus died outside the church, and she has a note there from citing Schaff and doesn't give it a page. Well, the page would be 409, 410. And Schaff writes here, he died without a priest or any ceremonial of the church, in wretched monistic Latin, sine crux, sine lite, sine lux, sine deus, but invoking the mercy of Christ. His last words repeated again and again were, "O Jesus, have mercy. Lord, deliver me. Lord, make an end. Lord, have mercy upon me." He lies buried in the Protestant cathedral of Basel, where his memory is cherished. And then Schaff goes on to write about the importance of Erasmus to the Protestants. He says, Protestants should never forget the immense debt of gratitude which they owe to the first editor of the Greek Testament, who enabled Luther and Tyndale to make their translations of the Word of Life from the original and lead men to the very fountain of all that is most valuable and permanent in the Reformation. And he goes on here to say, regarding his works with Jerome, to him we owe also the first scholarly editions of the Fathers, especially of Jerome, with whom he was most in sympathy. From these editions, the Reformers drew their weapons of the patristic controversy with the Romanists, who always appealed to the fathers of the Nicene Creed age rather than the grandfathers of the Apostolic age. So here, even his works with Jerome were used by the Protestants against the Roman Catholic Church. And again, in this work here, Erasmus in the Age of Reformation. This author here writes, let's see. He says here, eventually neither camp finally rejected Erasmus. Rome did not brand him as an arch heretic, but only warned the faithful to read him with caution. Protestant history has been studious to recognize him as one of the reformers. So that's the normal view of the Protestant history. That's only been distorted by the anti-King James movement because the Westcott and Hort have been exposed as heretics, and their text that they created out of thin air is a corrupt one and a Roman Catholic one based on their manuscripts. That there's been reaction. So what these anti-King James fanatics want to do is go after Erasmus and say, well, the text is Receptus then because it was put together by a Roman Catholic who was a member of the Catholic Church, must be a Catholic text. And that's their way of arguing against the Textus Receptus. And the issue is always the manuscripts. Both obeyed to this the pronouncement of public opinion, which is above parties and which continues to admire and revere Erasmus. Erasmus did have a sympathy for some group in the Reformation. That was the Anabaptists. Let's see. He says, while he rejected much of the doctrines that they held, he said he was not blind to the sincerity of their moral aspirations and sympathized with their dislike of brute force and patience which they brought persecution. They are praised more than all others for the innocence of their life, he writes in 1529, and that's the group that he died among and is buried among, that group, the Anabaptists. He goes on to accuse Riplinger of hypocrisy by attacking Montini, who is one of the creators of the UBS Greek text. He says, you are trying to discredit UBS Greek text because of Catholic involvement, which is exactly what occurred with the Textus Receptus, that is a Catholic created. Now, the issue of the UBS and Westcott and Hort text and these other false texts has nothing to do with the who created them. As I said, Westcott and Hort Protestants. The issue is the fact that they use manuscripts, corrupt manuscripts that form the basis of the Roman Catholic Vulgate, and even beyond that, even worse so, as they get into the New Age. So that page that he cites, the Riplinger, page 54. Page 54 is what Riplinger says about the Montini. One is a Catholic cardinal using the Vatican's own Vaticanus manuscript, not a Catholic. So the issue is the fact that he uses the Vaticanus, and that's the essential point. And these guys want to make a point to say, well, Erasmus was really Roman Catholic, and therefore he couldn't create a good Greek text that could be used by Protestants, which is, of course, untrue. Now, another attack that against Erasmus' text is that he did it in a hurried manner. Now, he published it in a hurried manner, but his research was very much in depth, and it's actually from his work on 1505 and 1506. That's when he actually had worked on it. Let's see. This is a work on Erasmus the Anabaptist and the Great Commission. And he says here, Zwingli must be sure he had done the same with Erasmus' 1519 edition. Heinz Holzig had rightly termed the most important and its impact the most influential of Erasmus' editions. It was most influential because Erasmus departed much more freely from the wording of the ecclesiastically approved Vulgate text, returning to his own direct translation begun in 1505, 1506 from the original Greek. see, he goes on here. Erasmus appended his ever-expanding annotations in the second edition, also giving the reasons why he had on occasion criticized, at times even rejected, the traditional Vulgate rendering. Erasmus' third edition of the New Testament appeared in 1522, a century replication of the 1519 edition. It contained a new preface, which, with its emphasis on the Christian instruction of the Church's youth, followed by what Erasmus himself referred to as a possible rebaptism, well, made a powerful impression upon both Zwingli and his followers. So, in fact, that Erasmus had worked quite a long time on the New Testament, and he had access to all the manuscripts in Europe. He was considered a first-rate scholar, and he had no problem getting access to see manuscripts and the readings, and he rejected the false readings from the Vaticanus readings, and he didn't trust them. This is Durant. Will Durant calls him as a scholar, talking about his work on the New Testament. He says here, while these negotiations proceeding, Erasmus made his way up the Rhine to Basel and offered to Froben the print in the manuscript of his most important production, a critical revision of the Greek text of the New Testament with a new Latin translation and commentary. It was a labor of love, pride, and risk for author and publisher alike. The preparation had taken years. And so the errors that came from the first edition, of course, were typographical errors from printing and these things. But it was not errors from lack of preparation. He had been working on the New Testament since 1505, 1506. And let's see here, there's something else. Let's see here. But so essentially, we'll break off here. But Erasmus, the fact is that the Greek New Testament that Erasmus created was in fact a thorough research. The works that he rejected, the works from the Vulgate that he suspected as being corrupted by the Catholic Church. Now, it's also pointed out that many of the text itself he often rejected, but he still put it in there. The end of Mark and also 1 John 5:7. That's another big one. That's often pointed out. It said that he only put that in the second edition, and so because he said if someone found a manuscript that would support that, he would put it in. In fact, that's been that view has been totally debunked. Even Bruce Mexa has admitted that in his biography, extensive biography, his best biographer, has stated very clearly that that is not the case, and there's no evidence of that he did that. He put in 1 John 5:7 because he found further evidence for it, and therefore he put it in there, and that's exactly where it belongs. So these are just some lies that are passed by Erasmus. In fact, Erasmus, even though he was a Roman Catholic, made a Roman Catholic and as part of the Roman Catholic Church, he had many Protestant leanings in the sense that he believed that the average person should have the Bible in their own language and be able to read it, and that's one of the reasons he was so intent on correlating a Greek text so it could be translated. And again, I'll be dealing with further subjects dealing with this work, again showing that more lies from Corner in his attack on the King James Bible, and of course on Gail Riplinger, who was one of the foremost defenders of it. Amen. Thank you.